Yo, everybody. What is up? It is Tuesday, and I am getting ready to share because this thing don't schedule nothing. It don't notify nobody of nothing. So I'm going to put it into the post here. Wow, I look very blue. Jeez, that's okay. Maybe I am blue. Maybe it's just my shirt reflecting all this blue. All right, how's everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, and it is time for, once again, Earthtones Live, coming to you from Earthtones Recording Studio. We are going to talk about all sorts of good stuff, and if you're not familiar with the live stream, this is my studio. My name is Benji. This is Earthtones Recording Studio, the big room behind me with all the Marshalls and all the guitars and all the good stuff, and there's a drum kit behind me. There's probably a bunch of random stuff behind me also, but that's okay. So we're going to actually get into it tonight and talk about some things that we've been working on for the past probably 2 weeks. So the reason we were not here last week is, I will tell you, the reason we were not here last week is just because last Tuesday we had sort of a long day shooting video stuff in here. And I'm not necessarily a video studio. I don't claim to be. I don't advertise myself as a video service. So when it comes time for people to call for video stuff, I don't want to be the guy that they call and go, "Can you do my movie? Can you do my commercial? Can you do my daughter's wedding?" Video. But I will do add-on video stuff. We have it as an add-on service here at the studio, in-house video stuff, sort of like the video stuff that you're watching now on the live stream. And we offer that as a service. I have a camera system. It's cool. It's very good. It's very awesome. It's not 8K surround with a million, Ks. Whatever they have. All my friends that are video guys, it's like 4K to 8K to 20. They do 20K surround now. And it's like, there's so many things and so many. The crazy thing is the video world went the polar opposite way to me of the music world when it came to all of our resolutions and stuff. It got to the point where I could go to Walmart and I can buy an 8K TV. And it's beautiful. It looks like I climb into it. If I have an 8K signal coming from somewhere, I don't know that my cable is 8K. I don't know that my streaming is 8K. But I can do that. I can have an 8K TV, but yet every beat that I get from somebody that comes in here is an MP3 or some MP4 or some terrible resolution file that you can just text to each other. It's so small and it sounds terrible. And music became convenient when your video home systems and your TVs and your streaming services are running theaters out of business. Your audio is just kind of like, hey, whatever's convenient for me, man. Let's make it convenient. We don't really care if it sounds full resolution. And then we went Atmos, which is not even caring to make stereo sound even any better. It just gives you 10 more speakers of 10 more speakers of MP3s if you want them. But can I put the Atmos file? Can I text it to because it's so small that I can attach it to a text, so it's so weird to watch things go that way. So getting back to the video thing, we did, I do video as an add-on service here. Basically, when I say as an add-on service, if you have a session booked in here already, I'll say, hey, do you want me to shoot video of this? And it's a per song price, and I just do it per song as you're recording your session. I have a system that'll do that. I can just set fixed cameras. So what you get is you get video that's actually in time with your song. It's not just candid shots of you edited in where you're singing another song as the music plays in the background. Most of it is just exactly how you played it off the floor, so do that as video. So people will see me doing video stuff and they'll say, hey man, you do, and they start talking in video lingo, and that's completely over my head. Aiden is, Mr. Video over here sitting behind the cameras. He can tell me all the video lingo, and that's exactly why he is here, is because I am not the video guy. Yo, everybody. Terry Von Cannon, we are rolling. What's up? Megatone Amp says, what's up, bitches? Nick Bolajak says, happy Tuesday on Earth, baby. That's right. That is exactly right. Terry says, have you ever talked about how you can jump in a session and add bass, guitar, or vocals when needed, like you have done for me, which led to me asking you to sing lead on a single for Snooze and I entitled Bucket List? Yeah, actually, I don't really talk. I mean, I don't really tout myself as, hey, I'm going to do I can do these things for you, because then my live streams feel like I feel like a used car salesman or something, like I'm up here going, check it out. It's like it's bad enough that I stand up here and talk about all these things that I get and that I do, but I can do that. I do that for I have done that for Terry Von Cannon, and I do that for a lot of people. It's so funny what Terry's talking about is he's talking about, and Terry's in the chat. If you guys want to jump in the chat, we're on all my socials. If you're seeing it now, if you're seeing it, we're there. If there's a comment section, I've got a laptop here that's pulling all the comments from YouTube. It's pulling them all from all the Facebook pages. It's pulling them all from everywhere, and it's congregating them all into one nice thing here, so I can actually see all of you talking to me. So chime in the chat and talk to me about anything that you want. But what Terry's talking about, Terry Von Cannon has chimed into the chat. He says, have I told them about me playing bass and guitar and singing and stuff like that? And it's like, guitar's my main instrument, and I play some bass. I'll play on sessions. I play on my own records, and everything that I can do, I prefer to do myself. Not that I don't trust anybody else, I really do, but I'm a control freak when it comes to stuff like that. So it's like my last record, I say my last record is really a record of kind of. I mean, it is a kind of a me record, but me and Tim Heisman, wrote it together. But we wrote these songs in 45 minutes each, like laid them out and tracked them all that fast, and that was one of those things where I finished it all. My son played a little bit of keys. I'll play keys if I have to, just to have some keys in there, but I'm not a great keys player. I don't really tout myself as, I'm going to play keys on your record and be an amazing keyboard player. So, but I will if I have to have a Hammond B3. If I want the sound of a B3 and I think, man, I just hear a Hammond B3 kind of rolling around back behind that guitar part or something like that, I'll just pull up a software and I'll just put B3 on it, and there it is. And then people's like, who played keys on it? And I think, I'm just like, I did? I'm like, oh man, you play keys? And I'm like, not really. You don't want me to play in your band. But that is the thing. What I will do, and this is kind of encompasses the whole, not really the whole control freak thing, but when I got into doing this whole recording thing, sorry to be looking at my watch. I'm not looking at my watch like I have anywhere to go. It's just all of a sudden 10 minutes till 7, a bunch of phone calls come in. When you work with a lot of West Coast stuff, when you work on TV and film stuff, it is only 4:13 Pacific time. So they're just like scrambling to wrap up the end of the day. And man, Hollywood is so, if you're not on a film set and you're in an office, they are very 9 to 5, man. And you get to Friday, it's 9 to 1. It's like, we live in California, 1 o'clock, I'm out. And they'll be like, at the beach. I'm like, man, okay. So anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, Terry said something about me playing on stuff, and I saw and this is really where that came from. My mentality as a producer, I guess that's what you would call me, is as a producer. Although I'm an engineer, but I engineer and produce simultaneously, I guess. Where I got that mentality from. Bro, there's Gale, Mr. Eric Gale with no S, but is in the chat. He is here. So yeah, what Terry's talking about is I will pick up whatever instrument is available if something needs to be, say you need to fill in something on a song, and I'm sitting here, and you don't have a session player, and we're overdubbing some stuff, and I think, man, a 12-string guitar would really sound good in that one spot right there. And the client, most of the time, is going to look at me. That's where the producer role kind of started to come in. Jason Ridge, what's up, my man? That's where I started to become a producer. Like the producer role started coming in. I will never approach somebody and say, let me produce your record. Oh, God, I got some stories about that today, too, so don't get me started. I told Shallon I'm not going to go an hour and a half tonight, but watch out. It might be 2 hours if I get started on this one, Shallon. You better watch out. Okay, are you going to make it to the Greg Kalk, Paul Gilbert show? I'll be there. I am bringing him more merch. He has been selling out. Man, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I think something is going on Friday. I'm not sure what it is. It might have been a session I had to book. I'm not 100% sure that I'm not going, but I'm also not 100% sure that I am going. There's something happening. There's something happening that's janking with my time on Friday evening, and I can't remember what it is. It's either something that's happening early Saturday. I don't know, man. My schedule's been crazy. I've had a little more open time the past couple of weeks than I have in a long time. So So I've been doing a lot of other stuff besides working in the studio. I've been organizing a lot of things. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep on task because I edit all these shorts out later on, and I'm like, God, man, it took me 10 minutes to get 3 minutes worth of subject out of my mouth because I get so sidetracked with everything. So Terry's talking about me playing on stuff, playing on your record. And again, that's just part of what I would consider to be the producer role. And again, I never started this whole thing with the term producer in my mind, because producers back in the day, you had engineers and you had producers, and producers were normally record label people, and they were normally in charge of the final product, but that had to do with booking. It had to do with booking studios. It had to do with organizing. It had to do with setting up everything. It had to do with scheduling the band. It had to do with wrangling the band, making sure the band got in the studio at the time that you had the studio booked. And it had to do with a lot of other stuff besides making musical decisions. A lot of times it didn't have to do with even making musical decisions. It just had to do with more of that administrative stuff like I'm talking about. Let's make sure that this band gets in and cuts this. Do they have the songs? Have we booked rehearsal space for them to demo the songs? And the producer listens to the songs. And he does make musical decisions, but he's also going to make sure that he stays out of the way. Producer's going to make sure that they stay out of the way. If the band's got these songs dialed in, he could polish a little piece of them here and there. He can help them, make them more into a recorded product, which sounds completely different than a live product. You're going to double vocals. You're going to put guitar parts in and maybe even keys parts and other instruments in that don't exist in your live band because you're making a record. And the first time that I ever heard about that or realized what that was there was a really good Todd Rundgren interview. There's a show called, and I know I talk about it all the time here, and it's called Classic Albums Revisited. It was on VH1, and they did a whole series of classic albums. They did Dark Side of the Moon. They did Queen. They did a bunch of records where they would pull up the multi-track tapes and show you and solo out different parts, of the original recordings and let you hear those. And to me, as an engineer, to go back and watch something like that, because those are they are classic recordings, but they're not it's not like Duke Ellington. It's like you still hear all those recordings on the radio today. You'll hear those songs in commercials. You'll hear them, a lot of places. And those songs are recorded really meticulous and really well. So they'll pull these session tapes up. So they had the Meatloaf album, Bat Out of Hell, and Todd Rundgren had produced that. And they had the Todd Rundgren album, Bat Out of Hell, the Meatloaf album, Bat Out of Hell. And Todd Rundgren is the producer on it. And Todd Rundgren had a great solo career before that. He was an artist, right? And there's a part in the interview where they're talking about I think there's a song called Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. Isn't there a Meatloaf song? You guys don't know Meatloaf? Y'all are like clueless. Right? Not clueless. Clueless to Meatloaf, which that's perfectly okay. You're not old enough to know who Meatloaf is, which is a shame. We'll have to educate you after the live stream ends. So they're interviewing Todd Rundgren, and he talks about this car, or they may be talking to Meatloaf about it, and they're interviewing him, and there's this sound in that song of a car crash. This sound of a car crash. But the car crash is all like a guitar. He did it with a guitar. And Meatloaf describing how he did it, he's trying to, there's something about it. I'll have to find a clip of it. But there's something about it where he's explaining to him how he wants it to sound. He's like, yeah, it'd be cool if there's like a car crash and blah, 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 blah. And he says Todd Rundgren turns around and he picks the guitar up. So I'm like, okay, so this guy's sitting there behind the mixing console, but he has access to a guitar in the control room. So he turns around and he picks a guitar up and he dials in, he just turns some knobs and he goes and he hits record and he does this thing with like a slide and this big cacophony sounding thing with guitar, and that's what ended up being the car crash sound on the song. And he says to him, he says, like that? And he goes, like, he said, my mouth was hanging open. I was like, yeah, exactly like that. And I decided at that point, I was like, that's the role that I want to play in the studio. I want to be the guy that I'm mixing, or here's this record in front of me from this band, but I can also pick up anything and go ding, 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 and add to it if need be. Not because I want to impart myself on anything, but if need be, it's nice to be able to do that. And so I do. And I work with a lot of people where if something is missing, you know, I mean, I've had them look at me and say, do you know any guitar players? And I'm standing in a studio with 30 guitars and 1 million amps around me. And I'm like, no, I don't know any guitar players at all. I don't know what you're talking about. So I will just say, yeah, I'll tell me what you want. I can gladly play guitar on it. And they'll say, and this is going to lead me into another thing that I'm going to talk about before we start playing pedals. Anyway, so I want to be that guy that can go, okay, we can get all that done here. I don't play sax, but if you need a sax player, I know them. But I don't have to hire a session musician for every single thing that's missing off the song. I don't want to do that. And most of the time, if I feel sorry for guitar players that come in and play in here, I don't feel sorry for all of them. Trust me. There's a lot of them that come in and I don't have to say shit to anybody. All I'm doing is being the engineer. I'm just pressing record. And like me and Gales, I don't have to tell Eric Gales anything. I don't have to tell Charlie Hunter anything. I don't have to tell those guys. You know, a lot of guys come in here and they're killer players. But there's a lot of guys that come in here too, and a lot of times they're playing guitar on a song and they don't know, they're not familiar with song arrangement. They're not familiar with parts. And like I tell everybody I'm a parts guy. Like I want to help you with your guitar parts. I want to help you with your song parts. You know, if this needs to be a counter melody to something, and it needs to be another instrument, then maybe we need to hire a B3 player that's really good, and we need to do that. But maybe a lot of times I can just put down a little B3 piece, and they go, that's perfect, you know? And I go, okay, great. And they go like, we'll credit you as a keys player. And I'm like, you really don't have to do that, but that's okay, but I appreciate it. So that's what Terry's talking about, and that's where I got that whole thing from. And then I find out that a lot of times that's what producers do. Todd Rundgren was producing that Meatloaf record, and he goes, I'm not going to pull up a sample of a car crash or go record a car crash with a microphone. How about I just get this guitar and I make it sound like a car crash? I don't know how he did it. I couldn't tell you what song it was in. I think it's in that song. And but there's a really good clip about it, and he does it, and I'm just like, I'm watching that, and this is probably well before I had started doing this seriously and for a living. And I was like, that's the role that I would like to play in the studio if need be, if I could do that. So I do that a lot now. And so this is another thing that's going to lead me to this. This will be where I end my 3-minute short. I figured out when I try to edit these shorts out, it's such this whole video thing is so crazy. Is very crazy because it's very time consuming. These live streams are fun because they just go and in an hour and a half they're done. But it's like all the editing of the shorts to put on YouTube and to put out to you guys on social media. If you didn't catch it, to see the little things, it's great because a lot of people are watching them, and a lot of people it really, like when I announced the record label thing and I put it out there, it was like gangbusters. You know, people were flipping out over the little short thing that I cut out. And I was like, okay, that's good. That lets me know that people are watching. So anyway, that's where I'll cut the short, talking about producers. But here's the other thing I want to talk about tonight before we get into anything else. So I got 2 more things before we play any pedals. And it's 7:24, and I'm drinking plenty of coffee, so we're running fast. I want to say thank all of y'all for watching again, too, and for chiming in, and for saying things, and for watching, and for commenting, and all that good stuff. So there's our industry gets a bad rap, it deserves to get a bad rap because of this, but it gets a bad rap because there's a lot of guys in our industry that I consider to be kind of slimy. And the music industry's always been very kind of slimy. And it's still that way, but it's more that way on an individual level, and I don't want to talk bad about the industry that I work in, but I still hear it. And I heard a story this past week, and it was just like made my blood boil again. And this is so speaking of being a producer, I am in what I would call a service industry. I'm in the service industry, right? So I don't wait your tables, but I basically rent out my space. I built this whole thing. I buy all this gear, and I have all this gear. And you can come in and use this gear for $75 an hour. That's my current recording rate. And you can come in for $75 an hour and do that, and that is my service to you. I am working for you for as many hours as you want to come in at that rate. I'm going to work for you and do everything that I can for you. That is our agreement when you walk in the door. I don't have any agreements that you sign. I don't have any contracts that you sign. But the past 2 weeks have really brought up a lot of this. And I would rather feel good when I go to bed at night about my business practices than I would try to make money the way that some people try and make money in this industry, especially in my studio industry. I find that a lot of people will have, and this has been going on forever. But what it is people will ask me about hidden costs. And I always say, like on my website, I'm like, here's my rates. There's no hidden costs. And people will still ask me in emails, anything outside of hourly, any other costs involved? And I'm like, no. I mean, that's my hourly rate. I don't, unless you're, like I have to print scripts for audiobooks. I have to charge the company $90 for me to print the script because I'm fronting the, I say $90. It's about $90 to print a couple of scripts. So do that, go pick them up at Office Depot. That's a cost that is, but that's not an add-on cost for me. There are so many engineers and producers and studio owners that make their money by adding on junk afterwards that they don't tell you about. And it's called I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know that it's called a hidden fee. I don't know that it's called anything, but it's really slimy because most of the time they do it intentionally and they wait until you're done. Everything is this great process. I'm charging you $75 an hour. So the way that this story came about was my son was telling me a story about talking to a kid that he met in school this past week. And when I say in school and I say my son's 21 and he's in college. So he's going to college for this, for audio engineering. So he met a kid and we had a weird mutual acquaintance of a producer that I'm not too terribly fond of myself personally. I've not worked with him directly, but I've heard stories, and I have worked with him indirectly. Let's just say that. Not local, international producer, not local. So, but this kid, his band had worked with this producer, and the producer had seen them and said, "Hey, that song that you guys played that I just heard you play." Somehow he caught him at a gig. I don't know how that happened, but caught him at a gig and said, "Slimy Part 2 would be some booking agents." Oh yeah, booking agents too, bro. But I mean, there are good everything. Terry Von Cannon says Slimy Part 2 would be booking agents. But for studio stuff, this is what bothers me because it's the industry that I'm in. There are a lot of guys that will have say they contributed something to a song. Say they were in here and they gave you a word. You're like struggling for a word because you had to rewrite a verse. And say they suggested that you rewrite the verse. Man, I don't think that verse is good enough. You should rewrite that. And then they put 2 words in your verse. And then at the end of the session, after they've recorded all of your vocals and after they've recorded and they've mixed your song and they've taken your money, they tell you, and I've heard this story too in the past, they tell you, hey man, you're going to owe me another X $100 for that contribution to your song, or I'm just going to take those parts out. And it's like holding your work hostage. It's ridiculous, right? It's like going into a Walmart. It would be like going into a Walmart and paying for your produce, and you get to the door, and the guy goes like, hey man, I had to move that cart out of the way of your car, and he's got a gun. He's holding a gun on you, and he's like, you're gonna have to give me 10 more bucks, or you can't leave the store with your groceries you already paid for. I'm like, that's complete bullshit, the whole thing. But there are studios, and there are engineers, and there are the Phil Spector classic. Yes. Yeah, Phil Spector didn't have a gun on him at Walmart. He had a gun on him in the studio. So what I heard this past week was, and this is verbatim, and I'm not going to mention any names. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty, but this guy had seen this band and they had him in the studio, and I guess there was a deal for what they were going to do. So a producer would bring a band into the studio and say, okay, for $5,000, we're going to make a 5-song record that's going to get you all the studio time. I'm going to produce it, and my name's going to be on it, and I'm going to mix it, and I'm going to push this to all my friends because I'm a famous guy, and then we're going to do all this. And so they get to the end of the session, the kids pay them all this stuff, get to the end of the session, and the kids ask for their stems. Hey, Wayne Jarrett, how are you, my man? It's good to see you, buddy. Hang in here if you can. So they get to the end of the session and they ask for what are called their stems. And the stems are essentially like if I do a Pro Tools computer recording, your stems are your individual tracks. Like I can give them a folder that just has all their individual tracks that they paid for, that they recorded, right? And the producer says, oh, your stems, that'll cost you $500 a song to get your stems. And I'm like, you can't do that. And to me, you can do that once to everybody. But if somebody lets you do that to them twice, that is complete bullshit. And then justify it on top of it. And it's like I get so sick of hearing that shit. And I don't mean to curse, but it's just like I get so sick of hearing that stuff because that gives people like me, number one, it's just arrogant as hell. And it's like, and the guy that I know that is doing it, that I hear that, it's like, I'm just like, man, you can't, you're taking every bit of credibility that you have and you're throwing it out the window. You should be really using it for good, I think. It's like, I would rather leave my clients with a good taste in their mouth. I had an artist this past week that I had contributed some stuff to and contributed something to a song, and she said, I want to pay you a payout for your percentage of the writing on this song. And I was like, that's great. Okay. And I wasn't going to ask for anything. If we sat down and we worked on what are called splits, and I mean splits when you're writing a song, that's a logical thing to do. A lot of times you'll do a split afterwards, and it's basically, it's kind of copyright ownership, and it's kind of not. It's kind of copyright ownership, but it's kind of, I've read about it over the past couple of weeks because I told her, I said, you really don't have to pay me out. I said, we can just do a split if you want. So a split's basically going to be the split of the royalties, the split of streaming royalties, the split of sales, the split of all that. And that's going to take a contract. But it's also, if you don't want to sign a contract and say I go to a streaming service like DistroKid, or I go to a streaming service like CD Baby, I use CD Baby to do stuff myself personally. You can go do all the splits, and you can put down that you can put writers, and you can put what their split is for composition. Like composition is lyrics, I think. What is the other called? It's composition and something where it's music and lyrics. Is that what it is? Composition and lyrics? Okay, cool. So composition is the music then, and then the lyrics. So you can split. I don't even want to get into that because that's like math, and it's too late in the day for me to be doing complicated math. But essentially the publisher can get up to 50% of all the royalties on the song. There has to be a publisher, and the writer can get the other 50%. All the writers together can get the other 50%. Now, out of that other 50%, you can split the music and you can split the lyrics. If somebody wrote the music and you wrote the lyrics, then you each get 25% of the total, but you get 50% of the half of it. So in other words, for there to be a whole 100%, 50% of it can be all the publishers added together. The other 50% can be all the writers added together. Then you sit down and you work out, okay, did I get... Most of the time, if I add a contribution to a song, it'll show up in my ASCAP. Whoever the producer is has done it. It'll add the ASCAP, and I'll have like a 10% in there. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I played a little guitar line or something like that. So, so that sort of reared its head this past week, not in a bad way, but just enough for me to think about it. To think about the fact that, my client offered me a payout for a song that I didn't ask for, but I gladly just said, sure, that's great. Because that way we don't have to dealing contractually with a 10% split on something in the future is, especially with streaming royalties and with such low record sales that everybody's having, unless you're into merch stuff, a buyout on the front end is actually, a buyout or a payout on the front end is actually so much easier for the artist or for the person that's in control of it, because I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it in the future. I don't have to worry about like, well, I sold 20 CDs at the show. I got to give Shallon her $7.50, whatever her split is. And then I got to math it all out. It's like, man, I'm playing music. I don't have to do math unless I'm in a math rock band. And so that's the other thing coming out of this producer end of the things. A lot of guys will have those deals. Or they won't have deals. They'll just have a bunch of bullshit they're trying to pull on you at the end of a session where they just say, well, sorry, I added this and you owe me this. And it's like, no, that's not that. And to me, it's like, how can that ever end? How can that ever, if that's your business model and that's the way that you operate, how can that ever end in a good scenario? Ever. And it's like, we're in the business of like, making art. I'm not even in the business of wanting to run a business. That's the worst part about this whole thing, is having to sit down and pay all your bills at the end of the month, having to sit down and bug people about invoices that they owe you, and having to be an accountant. I had that with a big TV station, a big TV network this past week, that I had to go through and ask for invoices where we had both just dropped the conversation, and they were invoices from like December. 2 invoices from December, 2 from last week or a couple weeks ago. And I'm just like, God, I hate to do that. But I have to every now and then look at like, okay, here's outstanding payments. Have I gone through and rectified all of my, reconciled all my books against the checks that I've received, because there's so many payment apps that you can use. And somebody will pay me on a payment app and I'm like, great, put it in the bank. Don't put it to their account. And then 6 months later, I ask him, I'm like, hey, and I always have to play the dummy, because most of the time it is my fault because I've forgotten to put it in, and it's like, I'm just not that good at accounting. So could you please just forgive me and double check to see if I've received this money yet. So, okay. So it is now 7:38. Okay. Not bad. There's Joe Kleinard. Yes, sir. So yeah, producers and people that run slimy studio practices, I just have zero time for. And I will tell you that it carries through the whole industry. And you're only going to last so long. No matter who you are, you're only going to last so long before. And so this guy that I'm talking about, I won't tell you who he is. He plays in some pretty big bands. He's a player also. Plays in some pretty big bands. And what he'll do is he likes to bro down with all of his bros when he's playing, all of his famous guys. But then everybody else that's like not in the know, like young bands and stuff like that he works with, there's always some hoodoo bunch of bullshit that he's trying to pull on them, because it's classic story of like, if you've ever heard, there was a guitar player, his name's Jake E. Lee. He played for Ozzy Osbourne on 2 albums. and he played on an album called Bark at the Moon. Everybody knows that song, Bark at the Moon, like killer guitar parts. And Jake Lee was one of my favorite guitar players. And if you hear him talk about the Ozzy experience, the whole thing is, if you look on the back of every Ozzy album, because his wife's his manager, the deal was every album says all songs written by Ozzy Osbourne. That's all it says. And it's like, I don't know what kind of deals they did to where they either paid people out in a lump sum. I know that 2 guys on their records got cut out completely on even being credited writers, and they stayed in court with that for years, and one of them died. Like right before the guy died, they gave him, the Osbournes went and visited him, gave him this plaque. I was like, great, you get this guy to his deathbed. But it's like, that's what the industry is some days. It's really shitty. And it's like, don't be a shitty Philip Watkins. There he is, my man. Yeah, so don't ever be a shitty industry person. Philip Watkins will tell you that. And because I'm telling you, whether it's on, like Terry was talking about early, like booking agents, whether it's booking agents or club owners or music producers or anything, or players for that matter, people do not like assholes. They just don't. And, that's always been, I seem to be cursing a lot this episode. I don't know why. Maybe I'll put like 18 and over on my on my YouTube video. Yes, sir. I am here to preach tonight. Philip will tell you, man. Philip Watkins, who's run monitors for me, I don't know how many times, and is just the sweetest guy. Philip will tell you he can probably name by name every single complete asshole he's ever worked with, because you don't forget them and you don't ever want to work with them again. And sometimes you don't understand. Most of the time, unless they're just really good and insanely good and people just don't know that they're assholes and people are just fanned out over them, they will that will not affect them. But when you get into our industry, I mean, I could name you 5 of them right now, but I won't name them by name. I'll tell you afterwards. You come see me, you come catch me in person. I'll tell you exactly what their names are. And I will say too that I have had kids coming up. I've had interns coming up that have maybe not been so honest with me. I had an intern not be so honest on his hourly paperwork, and it was very intentional. Yeah, but they somehow still get jobs. You're exactly right. Philip's exactly right. I don't know how it happens. That's why I said, man, there must be a lot of people on this earth doing what we're doing for them to run through all those clueless people before word gets around. But I will tell you, if we all talk amongst ourselves, like Philip and I are that's great. Busted. So Philip and I can tell you, and like I'm telling you, man, I could tell you all of them, and we sit around, and when I say we, there's a lot of guys that do this thing. It's like this is what we do. This is our lives, and this is what we do for a living. So when we do get a chance to hang out or sit and have so much fraud in the repair business, so crazy. Yeah, right? So Dale Lasley's chiming in too from Megatone Amplifiers, and Dale Lasley is going to tell you there's fraud in that too, man. I mean, there's people, just slimy business people, and it's like you try to be as good as you can as a business person, and there are still just people that will take a dishonest way out for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe that's just their nature. Maybe it is. But when it gets into the recording business, I really hate that, because a lot of people will come to me, and they'll sort of land here, like after going to other studios, and I'll hear horror stories about that too. And it's like, I've heard, the biggest studios in town. There was a friend of mine who came and finished his record with me. A friend of mine, a client of mine and a friend of mine, but brought the whole band in here to finish the record, because he said we got to the point where we were at the end of our hours, and literally they shut everything off and said, okay, man, you got to get out. And it was like, man, I'm a completionist. If I'm at the point of recording something for you, and I'm recording background vocals for a song, and we're halfway through, I'm going to finish the song. even if we're up against the hour. If we run over 15, 20 minutes, as long as somebody's not standing out in the lobby waiting, and I normally am going to book a cushion between sessions, I'm not that booked. I mean, I'm pretty booked, but I'm not so booked that I'm not going to leave a half an hour or an hour between sessions just to strike the floor or to just get my bearings about me, that we don't have 10, 15 minutes to get something done. And it's like that just becomes maddening to me to hear stories, from studios. But that's, a lot of guys are old school, and a lot of guys like to operate that way. They like to operate that way. Like, all right, kid, get out. And I'm just like, I don't want to be that way. All those people that are young and they're up and coming, and they don't know the things that you're getting ready to do to them, they're going to remember that you're doing them to them, and they are the future, and they are going to tell all of the people. And there's just guys that become complete assholes in this business, and they stay that way, and they just become old, bitter assholes. So anyway, I think I've said the word asshole plenty tonight, so I need to stop saying that. Okay, so one more thing. We're going to get into pedals. So Jay Moody says, that's what makes you different, man. You haven't lost your compassion. No, you're exactly right, man. I haven't. I do have a compassion, and I have a passion for all of this. And I have, and I'm not saying it to toot my horn, but I talk to kids about this when I do seminars at schools and stuff like that, is like, there's a thing called, that's right. True. Very true. Shallon the Outcast, which is the greatest hand. Preach, man. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, man. And I tell people this when I do seminars and when I do everything. It's just like a lot of me and my friends, we can identify kids and people that have what we call the thing. And we just call it the thing. And I don't know why I have it, and I don't know why a lot of us have it, and I don't know why some kids have it, but it's just the thing. It's like you get it. You have a musical mind. You have to have a musical mind about you to be able to do this. You don't have to, but you're going to end up being the guy that's just pressing the buttons and having no clue as to what's happening, and the rest, no idea how to read the room when it comes to running a session. You do have to have a musical mind. And I call that the thing. And again, a lot of us, and it doesn't mean if you have the thing that you're more talented than anybody else, or like I'm a better guitar player, because I'm not, but you understand. And a lot of it is very unspoken. Like people that have the thing, like my son has the thing, and the thing is, we'll talk to each other about it. Let's give some of this side angle some love. Look at that. We'll talk to each other about it. Me and my friends that are my age, I'm 58. And we'll talk, and when we talk about kids, when we start talking about players, we'll look at each other, and they'll just say, they got the thing, and I'm like, it's got the thing. And we don't have to audibly say or identify what that is. It's just the thing. And you just know it when you see it and when you hear it. A lot of it is rhythmic. A lot of it is pitch-based. Most of it is rhythmic. Because rhythm is a thing that I find in a lot of people that you can't teach. I can teach you where to put your fingers on a keyboard, and I can teach you in what order to play what notes. But the majority of the things that you hear in musicians that you identify as something that's bad is going to be, it's just that we're eat up with it. We're all about it. It's who we are. You're exactly right, man. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I can't. And like we're talking about, somebody's talking about retirement. The other day, it's like I'm 58. A lot of people are 58. They're like, "Hey, man, won't be long." I'm like, "Won't be long for what?" Like, this is what I do, man. I can't. There's no retiring when you're fortunate enough to do what you like and what your passion is for a living. Then there's not. You don't ever work a day in your life. And sometimes you feel guilty, that you don't work a day in your life because I'm not at a job that I hate, or anything like that. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing my whole life just to have health benefits or make a good wage or be able to pay my mortgage or anything like that, which is fortunate. I mean, there is a lot of sacrifice in a lot of what I've had to do getting to this point, and it's not an easy thing, and it doesn't happen overnight. But if you go into it knowing that, so that's what I'm saying. The thing is that thing that it scratches and claws at you like I can't not do this. I can't not do this. That's just I can't not do this. And the thing is, when you have the thing, and you're working with other people, and it goes full circle back to what I was talking about with like playing guitar on other people's records or picking up something and playing a bass line on people's records. I will do that, and if I have other players that come in on the session, Scott Harden, yeah, I'm trying to live the dream, man. Hey Eric, yeah, I see you, man. I see you listening. You keep listening, pal. I'm working on those guitars, man. But so the like if other players come in and they sit down, and I feel like I could pick the guitar up as a producer. I feel like I could pick the guitar up and I could literally hit record and have a part done in like 5 minutes, and the song's 3.5 minutes. Like, not that I'm that great, but it's that just the way my brain works. I know exactly what I want and exactly the thing. And 45 minutes later, I'm sitting with the player and I'm trying to make them play what I would pick the guitar up and play anyway. And sometimes I'll say, can I show you something? And they'll hand me the guitar and I'll kind of show them the part, and they're like, oh. And sometimes they can play it back to me. Sometimes it doesn't have the right feel, and a lot of times I'll just hit record and record a little piece of it. And I'm not trying to do this, but a lot of times they'll say, why don't you just play it? And I go, are you sure? And they say, yeah, man. And I go, okay. And I go, click. And I just go, rick-a-tick-a-tick, whatever the part is, and put it down. Because that's what I'm trying to get them to play something that I hear in my head that I think is the right part. And so that's a lot of times where I'll pick an instrument up and play. And say, I don't want to take an instrument out of anybody's hands and do that. That is my... Oh, and Eric Gale chimes in and says, also, there are assholes in the guitar building biz as well. Total douchebags. You are correct. And it's like an esteemed elitist society. I don't want to be that, man. I don't want to be the elitist engineer. I want to be the kid that just bought some mics last week and just hooked and is still learning how to hook them up, except I just make really good records. And I try to, I have an expectation to make good records, man. So, and speaking of that, if you didn't see my social media post this week, I got my Grammy certificate. Is that a thing? It's not a plaque until I put it in a frame, but I got my paper certificate for Eric Gale's tribute to Little Jimmy King record, and we did his guitar solo and his vocals for the first single, which was the song Somebody, featuring Buddy Guy on guitar. And Buddy's engineer sent Buddy's vocals to us. We did some vocals here with Eric, and we edited them to where they kind of sing off of each other, kind of a back and forth thing, which is really cool. And the Grammys, once they get all the awards out to the people that win and they get all the trophies out, then there's an ordering period where you can go on and order your certification for what record you were involved with, and you have to send them proof of the credits and all that. But it's really cool. You can go back. LaDonna Gale's got hers for Crown, which was in 2022. Eric Gale says, I am nobody, glorified wood butcher. I do like building guitars, though. Yeah, man. Dude, that tribute album is straight fire, right? But I will say, not because I worked on that song, but I was so honored that I got to work on that one song, because that's my favorite song on the whole record. And Eric had played that song in here. We had done, and nobody had heard the version that he had done in here. We had done a live stream. He was contracted by a company in Memphis back when concerts were still being like live streams, before we were doing live concert events after COVID. And he had done this live stream event for an organization in Memphis that would have had a festival, like a fundraiser festival, in Memphis, but you couldn't put on concerts yet. So they had asked him to do it. So we did all the video for it in here. So there's a whole, you guys need to bug Eric about this, but there is a whole, I'd have to find it and see if it's anywhere available online. I don't think it is, but that company owns it, and they live streamed it for their event, and it's a whole 45-minute set of him and the band in here, just balls out, like loud as shit, and it's so good, man. It's so good. And nobody gets to see it, man. I did, yeah, man. I talked her. She asked me about the certificates, and I talked her into Eric Gale saying he's glad that I talked LaDonna into getting her certification stuff. So, yeah, man. I mean, we all deserve it. I got 3 plaques on the wall now that say, that I'm a Grammy-nominated engineer for three different things, and it's like that never goes away, man. Those are certifications that, there's a lot of people who work for a lot of things in their life, and there's a lot of people who go to school and they get degrees. There's a lot of people who go and they get their doctorate and they expect to be called doctor for the rest of their life. That's their honorific, as they call it. And it's like, I don't expect to do that, but you know what? I'm damn sure going to use it on every single email signature that I sign says 3-time three-time Grammy nominated engineer, because they never take that away. That's the cool part. They never take that away from you. And it took me a while to realize, like, oh man, it's like a participation trophy. But I was like, no, it's really not. It's really not like a participation trophy, because the only people that get the actual trophies are the people that say the name is on the category. Like Eric, for being a nominee, got a medal and then the certificate, right? He gets that at the ceremony, and then the winner gets the trophy. And so, but everybody else associated with the whole record, we get certificates, and it's really cool. So anyway, got that in the mail this past week, and that's good. That always makes my day, and I always like to share that around with everybody, because I'm just as shocked. Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll hear the pedals. Right on, bro. Yeah, and I'm just as shocked when it happens to me, because I'm still like I'm 15 in my bedroom with a 4-track trying to figure out how to program a drum machine. I never could figure out how to program those things. I was terrible at it. So many people are so good at it now, but I had to get to where I could actually see things on a screen, a Pro Tools screen, to actually program all that stuff. So, okay. So we're going to get to some pedals. First thing I'm going to talk about is this. Here is the reason that we could not. Well, here's the reason I didn't choose to live stream last week. Number one, I'm still behind editing out shorts from 2 episodes ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 episodes ago, with all the Steve Vai memorabilia that I had. I've been dropping those in. I dropped all of them in last night and today, all the little shorts. I dropped them into YouTube, and I'm going to try to drop them into all your social media feeds. I still haven't gotten to all of those yet. But the reason that I didn't do it last week is because there was a gentleman in here that had flown in. No, I'm sorry, he did not. Michael did not fly in. He drove in. He drove in from Boston, from Massachusetts, maybe. I think he said that, or Maryland. No, Maryland. He drove in from Maryland, and his name is Michael Palmisano. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Michael Palmisano's YouTube page, but he is the guy who sort of created the genre of pulling up other people's videos and going through with the guitar and kind of picking them apart, right? So like I don't know what they call them. There's a type of video that they call it, right? Like they're like we were calling them like the pick apart videos, but they're really like I don't even know. There's a lot of cats that do it now. But Michael, it has an amazing YouTube channel. His last name is spelled. Hey, my man, Quentin Gibson is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. My bro Quentin, who plays guitar for Darius Rucker. Go see him on tour this summer. He's going to be in Greensboro, North Carolina, sometime in June. I've got it on my calendar, but I don't know. So go see Quentin, man. He will be the guy that looks like he belongs in like Motley Crue while he's playing with Darius Rucker. No, I'm just messing with you, man. Quentin is a rock star to the core, and he's my buddy. And I'm glad that you jumped into the chat. Thank you, man, for the Grammy, for the congratulations on the Grammy nod. Hey, did you get a win? You got a win last year, didn't you, for playing on? So Quentin got a win. Quentin Gibson, who's in our YouTube chat right now. Quentin got a win for something that you would never believe in a million years. He got a win because they provided the soundtrack music for the Jimmy Carter posthumously won a Grammy. After he had passed away, he did a spoken word album. I mean, that sounded wrong. He did a spoken word album, then he passed away, then he won the Grammy for the spoken word album after he had passed away. And yeah, that's right, man, you did. And so it's crazy because I was like, hey, didn't you tell me? Like, we saw that, and it took a couple of days for it to click, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, didn't Quentin tell me about playing on something? And he was telling me that he says, yes, we won a Grammy for a collaborative. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's very cool. So my good buddy is a winner. Damn you. I'll win one day. I'm just messing. I think it's hilarious, man. I think it's hilarious because I've had other okay, spoken word, yes. It was Darius and Keb Mo. Oh, okay, right on. But yeah, it's funny because I had another friend of mine who won one for Beyonce's first record as a producer. And he was like, you're going to get yours one day, man. And I was just like, I don't, for what? You know, I record a lot of local bands. No offense to local bands. They're amazing. But the local bands that I'm recording, most of them are my age. I don't see them jumping in and getting a major label deal and getting something. And then all of a sudden, the floodgates open. And it was so funny. After I got the first one a few years ago, he texted me and said, I told you, man. He said, you better make room for another one. And I was like, what? And sure enough, there was another one. So it's so funny that Quentin says, not one of us ever expected a nomination, let alone a win. Yeah, I know, right? Right? The second one that I got, the nomination that I got, the second one I got was for a Shamika Copeland record in the Contemporary Blues album. I didn't even know the record had been released. That's how clueless I was. But the whole time I was like, man, Shamika Copeland, like, she's pretty big in the blues community. I bet, because I recorded Charlie Hunter's guitar for one song on that record. So I was an additional engineer, just like I was on Eric's records. They call it additional engineer. They credit you for overdub engineer or something like that. But kids, make sure that you tell everyone, if you're working collaboratively, that you make absolutely sure whoever you're sending your tracks to or your stems to or turning in your final work to that's producing and mixing the record, tell them how you should be credited. Do not ask them to credit you, but do not be an asshole and tell them to credit you. Say, my credits should be listed as. That's exactly what I put in every email message that I have to send to them. And that is should be. In other words, I'm not asking, could you please list me? Because if they don't list you, I had an album that I worked on that I thought was going to get nominated that was in 6 categories on the ballot. And when I bought a copy of the vinyl and sent it to me, there were like 1 million credits. I wasn't credited once in it. And I'm like, what the hell, man? So if it had been nominated, I had no proof of credit that I had done anything on the record. And I thought it was going to be huge, but it didn't get nominated at all. So I was like, oh well. That didn't have to worry about that one. So yeah, the Shamika Copeland record, I did not know had come out. And I kept saying to myself, man, I got to keep an eye out and see if that record comes out. Because if it does, I know whatever year it comes out, it's going to be nominated for a Grammy. Well, lo and behold, the Grammys came about, and a friend of mine was nominated in one of the categories. I was like, I wonder what Candace, her name is Candace Ivory. Candace had posted something about that. I was like, I wonder what Candace was nominated for. And I go to look in the category, and it says Shamika Copeland. And I was like, Shamika Copeland? I was like, I worked on a Shamika Copeland record. No way that's the one that I worked on, or I'd know about it. No, I didn't even know it was out, man. It was nominated. I found out it was nominated for a Grammy at the same time I found out it had been released. And I was like, oh, man. And I went and I looked up the record. Sure enough, there it was. And I listened to the guitar solo. Sure enough, there's Charlie Hunter's guitar solo right there. Okay. So enough about me. Michael Palmisano, which has the most killer YouTube channel. He picks apart all sorts of great guitar players and shows you what they're doing. And he's got such a passion for guitar and for learning and for showing you the things like that. Michael has a great pedal that he has created, and it is called Teleport. Do not know if you can see it. Let me get the down camera. Let me go right here. This is called the Teleport Looper. And he runs a company called Guitar Gate. And Guitar Gate is a guitar community. And I want to say, let me double check my messages. And he told me right before we started this whole thing. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm going to play some Jeopardy music. Hold on a second. I'm looking for it, guys. Oh, got it. Okay. So Michael's company is called GuitarGate.com. Guitar, G-U-I-T-A-R, gate, like a gate on your fence.com. And GuitarGate, thank you. GuitarGate is a guitar community that it's a guitar community that you subscribe to, and when you subscribe, according to Michael, it says that he drops a new artist video each week, and the loop pedals are included free in your membership, and membership reopens on Memorial Day. So what we did was we had Michael come in here and we videoed Eric Gales doing 9. This looper, I have to explain this looper to you really fast. I'm not going to be able to play it just because it's got so many options in it that I can't hook it up and demo it to you fast enough. I highly suggest that you go check out GuitarGate.com. But let's look at how substantial this looper is. This pedal is ridiculous. It is so, so cool. Here's the teleport pedal. This teleport pedal has 4 inputs and 4 outputs. So it is a 4-channel looper that you can input 4 instruments into and output them to 4 different amplifiers. So if you have a bass rig or you have a guitar rig or you have you have a bass rig and a guitar rig, and you want to say you want to play your guitar line. So what happened is Eric came in and we had a bass rig and a guitar rig. This thing has a drum machine built into it. So when you play to the drum machine and it counts you in, it's insane. The coolest part about this looper pedal, not the coolest part, it's really incredible and it's really deep. Yeah, okay, right on. It says you can only get to use 2 guitar pedals to go out on tour with. Which do you choose? Philip Watkins says. Oh, wow. To go on a tour with? It is like a whole studio and a pedal. Yeah, pretty sick, right, Q? So check it out, man. And you might want to talk to Michael about maybe, I don't know, maybe we could get some Quentin Gibson loops. So here's the deal, man. They do artist packages. The new Eric package, which we recorded in here, is coming out on the first video for Eric drops on GuitarGate Friday, and he drops a new artist video each week. So Eric came in and did 9 different loops, and the beauty of this pedal is that he has designed it to be Wi-Fi, not Bluetooth. So when you record your loops into the pedal, then you can upload them to the GuitarGate community from your pedal via Wi-Fi. So as Michael was recording Eric's loops that he had done, he was uploading them in between us cutting the videos. He would upload the loops that he did, and they would upload immediately. It was crazy. And the way he explained it to me was that the concept of the pedal is kind of like the Peloton exercise bike community, right? You can subscribe to Peloton, but it doesn't work without a bicycle, right? You can watch them, you can watch them do everything, but you can't ride the bike. You can buy an accessory from them. So the thing is, this pedal, you're not buying it. You have to pay for the subscription to GuitarGate, and when you do, you get this substantial pedal right here for free. And guess what? You get to keep it. It's a looper pedal freestanding, but you also, when you're in the community and you pay for it, you pay for your subscription, you can actually use this pedal, and as you do your loops, share them with everyone in the community, in the whole world that belongs to it. And so you can go download other people's loops, take the bass lines out of them, play your own rhythm parts to those, play leads over stuff. And the best part is, Eric Gales just recorded his 9 loops for you guys to enjoy once you become members. And those are going to be really, really cool as they kind of jump in. So we shot video. You'll get to see some of that when Michael drops them on Friday. It's very, very cool. And when Eric gets in the zone, when Eric Gales gets in the zone, if you've seen him play, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter where he's at. It doesn't matter if he's on a festival with 50,000 people in front of him, or he's playing in a room with 5 people in front of him, or if he's looping with himself. When he gets in the zone, he's in the zone. And he sat here and knocked those things out, but they were so funky. And the killer part about them is he would put 2 bass parts in the loop. I recorded with him a lot, and we do a lot of recording, and it's like he will put 2 bass parts on a song. And I'm like, that's 2. I would never put 2 bass parts. And he looked at me and said, why not? Sounds cool. It needs 2 bass parts. And I was like, okay. And so, be careful what you be careful what limitations you try to put on somebody. But anyway, so that is the Teleport pedal, Guitar Gate, and Guitar Gate Labs. And I want you guys to go check this pedal and check the Guitar Gate community out. My good buddy Michael Palmisano and his channel. Go subscribe to his channel. He's so great, and he's such a good dude. And I know that this thing is going to continue to blow up like it has been. Let's grab some pedals. Tonight we are going to do. I got some surprises, but I'm going to have to make them fast before we start running out of batteries. We've been doing really good so far. And this week, plugging this guitar in is to honor, my back. Jesus, my back. Plugging this guitar in, which is my workhorse, this is to honor my 2 good buddies, Jude Gold. I think we do need a new sound effect for. Hold on a minute. Let me go. What do we have? Let's see what we have. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good. I made it. That's good. That's perfect. That's perfect score. It is a perfect score. I know. So the first pedal that I'm going to play tonight. So anyway, I'm playing this guitar. This is my 1995 Zion. It's called a 90, and that is the model number. Ninety, not 90. So it's called a 90. This is from 1995. This was a NAMM sample guitar that they made about 4 of. They took them to NAMM, brought them back to the shop, and they sold these guitars at a massive discount. I went in and took my amp, set everything up, and I played through all 4 of those guitars, and this guitar is the one that kicked all of their asses, and I've had it. And every time someone picks it up, they swear to me that it's the greatest guitar they've ever played, or one of the best guitars, or one of the best tellies that they've ever played. And that is also true with Jude Gold, my friend that came in about a month ago. He's my friend now, plays guitar for Jefferson Starship. Jude played this guitar, and he asks me every time he texts me, hey man, you still got that orange guitar? He calls it the orange guitar. So we went to go hang out with them and go see them in Myrtle Beach a couple of weeks ago. He texts me and says, hey man, if you want to show up early, I'm sure you probably brought that orange guitar with you. I was like, no, dude, I don't, but I understand you have an obsession with my guitar. And it is a killer playing guitar. It's ridiculous. And so Michael Palmisano played it last week before the session. And I said, I just have to show you, man. I said, this is my numero uno. And he played it, and about 15 minutes later, he was still playing it. And he said, dude, I think this is one of the greatest guitars that I've ever played. And I was like, yeah, man, don't be sleeping on the Zion 90. So if I had to throw them all away, this would be the one that I would keep. And I hate to say that because some guitars are more sentimental. This guitar is a workhorse, And I do not do it justice, but I will tell you, man, it is a kick-ass guitar. So today, this is the first pedal we are playing, and this is called the Fuzz. F-H-U-Z. Let's get a top-down view on that one there. This is from my good buddy Dale Lasley. And Dale owns a company called DJL. And he makes Megatone amplifiers. So Dale has made fuzz pedals. And look at this fuzz pedal from Megatone amps called the Fuzz. And I have to say it that way. Yeah, Jude Gold, no guitar is safe. That's right, man. Jay Moody says Jude Gold, no guitar is safe. That's right. We did 2 episodes of No Guitar is Safe right here at Earthtones with Eric Gales and with Charlie, and Jude is my homie now. We're going to go hang out in August. I don't want to spill the beans, but I've got to spill the beans. We're going to go hang out in August because Jefferson Starship is playing with Kansas, and are you ready? Deep Purple. So, chance I get to meet the guys in Deep Purple, which is kind of cool, actually. Very, very cool. Classic legends. So anyway, let's try out the Fuzz and see what's up with that. Shall we? I think we shall. Let me find my power supply. Where's my power supply? Man, where'd my power supply go? Dang. It's got to be done. Oh, hold on. Don't jump. I got it. I just don't want to accidentally trigger the theme song because then we'll be into it for 3 minutes. All right, let's see here. Oh, yes, here we go. Here we go, everybody. So this pedal is from what Dale tells me, and Dale may want to chime into the, yeah, man, we do need to make the freestyle custom Earthtones official guitar. You do, man. Trust me, I got ideas, and I know you got them too. I know Eric Gale has them too. So Dale told me that this pedal is quite the celebration of a. Am I not getting any power? Do me a favor. Is that red extension cord? Is that one spot plugged in on the other side of the table, where the red extension cord goes to? Is there a one spot plugged into it? Is that one the one spot? Yeah? Okay, yeah, that's good now. Okay. Alrighty. So Dale told me I had to take some stuff to him to get it repaired, which he has repaired. Wow. Alright. So one of the things... Sorry about tuning on camera. I hate that. One of the things Dale had to repair was a fuse socket had gotten broken off my Sovtek MiG 50H, which I play every week here, and it's in the shop. But he has fixed it. And now, when I went to take that amp to him yesterday, he says, "Hey, you want to? I made this fuzz pedal. Would you play it on the show?" I said, "Yes, I will play it on the show." So now we're playing through my regular MiG 50, not the MiG 50H. It's actually a good pedal platform amp. This is a volume and a tone. And this is a what Dale had told me. He said this is based off one of the Jack White designs. I said, which one? He said, I don't know. Name me a few. And I said there's one called there's one Jack White makes that's got the like Tesla coil. It's called a plasma coil fuzz. He said, no, that's not it. And I said, is it the Bumble Buzz? And he said, yeah, that's it. And there's a pedal that Beatronics makes, I think, or some Union something. I've got one. And it just has a switch on it. It's got no controls. It's pretty cool, but you can't change stuff. So Dale said, well, we changed that. So he's got a switch. You ready? This is the best part of the whole fuzz. You ready? You see the blue light up around it? Oh, wait a minute. Nope, I don't have the top down. Hold on. That was sort of anticlimactic. Let me show you that. Here we go. That's right. Blue light around the switch. Woo! Wow! That is so killer. So this fuzz pedal not only has controls on it, so it's like a little more, say it's a little more adjustable version of the Jack White Bumble Fuzz, or Bumble Buzz, or whatever he calls it. So there's a volume knob that says volume, nice hefty volume knob. Oh yeah. Oh, that is nasty, man. Like, that's just... Woo! All right. So that now we're going to engage the fat switch. Wow. Yeah, man. Yeah, that is some fuzz right there, baby. All right, so now we have a tone knob. Let's see what the tone knob... Oh, let's see what it sounds like. Oh, that's nasty, man. And so there's a clip switch. So there's two different flavors of fuzz. You go to your clip fuzz, and you're going to get that zipper thing he was talking about. That's beautiful, man. I love it. Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, gotta have one of these. So I'm going to turn the tone up with the clip on. He explained the whole tone thing to me. That's nasty. So you go to boost mode. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's doing what my amp does. Ah, geez, that's cool. This is, I swear to you guys, this is like Jack White in a box. Like, Dale is not joking. With the boost up like that, and the volume turned up and the fat switch up, this is like the biggest that it's probably going to get. This thing is doing like a... I've got an amp. I have an old Bogner tube amp that you hit the front end of. If I turn the bass control up on it, like even just one little notch, it chokes out like that. Like it go, like you hit a note and it goes like it goes away. Like it's not like it's compressing it. It is compressing it. This is doing that in a way that I haven't heard outside of that amp. And I keep that amp at home. And if people need tracks that sound like Jack White or like the Black Keys, I use that amp and I use an aux. And I just use that amp. Now I got a pedal that'll do it. Oh, that's crazy. Like that. Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, like right there. Okay. All right. Dale Lasley gets he gets this, and bravo, Dale Lasley and Megatone amplifiers for making the fuzz pedal. Wow, that is ridiculous. Okay, man, there's only 2 places that I can go after that, because that's and I will tell you, this is an all distortion episode. I looked for another. Whoops, man, I just do that all the time. I looked for another type of pedal to play tonight, and I was gonna play one, and I just wasn't so crazy about it. So I just said I'm just playing all fuzz pedals and distortion pedals. So there's 3 of them. Yes, sir. So there's the fuzz, and then this has been getting a lot of press lately, and I don't know why, because this pedal is like 2 years old. I've had it for at least maybe that long. Maybe it's a year old, maybe something like that. I might have bought it. I don't know if I bought it last year, but this is the B-Tronics, the Tuna Fuzz, the incredible Tuna Fuzz. And this is still in the package. So we're going to take this out of the package. Here we go. Let's take out the Tuna Fuzz. I have never played this pedal in my entire life, so we're all going to hear it for the first time. And for some odd reason on social media, the B-Tronics guy has been really pushing these Tuna Fuzz pedals this past week. I don't know why. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll get mine out of the package and play it. Let's see what's up. What I do like, and I will show you on the top down here, is that I do like the fact, well, number one, it is in a tuna can. That is a tuna can. And they have put their own custom label on it that says Tuna Fuzz. And it's got an in and an out jack. It's got a power supply. And it has a, what is the knob labeled? The knob is labeled, Stinker. So if you want it to be stinker, you turn it up more, right? Like a tuna can would stink. The amazing thing about the B-Tronics guys, and I'll tell you this, all of their boards are ridiculous. And this one has a little plastic cap. And so when you look at their circuit boards are all custom printed. And they all have this crazy bee theme to them. And they're beautiful, man. I don't know. The guy must have some sort of crazy design degree or something like that. I don't know. So this is truly a tuna can, and this would probably cut me if I let it, but it's not. It's kind of smoothed off a little bit. But they got the plastic cap on it back here, so you can see the nice circuit board. But I am ready to hear it. Who's ready to hear it? Let's listen to it. All right, here comes the Tuna Fuzz. Well, don't cut it on yet. Where's my input? I love it. Oh, there. Okay. Let's see. Output here and input. All right. Are we ready? I'm excited. It's like every time I do this, it's like, man, there are pedals sitting on my shelf that I don't have, that I haven't used yet. So let's see what's up. Keltone says my cat would gladly. Yeah, it keeps it fresh, right? So that's plain guitar. Let's turn the stink all the way down and see what happens. So, oh! You can't just give the stink is not gradual. Oh, there's a gate built into this thing somehow. Woo! You can really hear it when you hit it. It's like the gate kind of knocks your head off. Philip Watkins says, don't stomp on that one too hard. Yeah, man, definitely. Completely different flavor than the fuzz, right? And this has got one knob on it, so there's not a lot of adjustability. You get what you get, but that's what you get. That's bridge pickup. And that's the volume at about 12. So let's turn it up a little more, I'm afraid. That's all right. That's kind of choking a little bit. And that's the neck pickup. No, that's the middle pickup. Let's try the neck. Wow. It's pretty heavy. See how long it'll go. Let's see. Let's see. Man, that's all right, that's pretty nasty. That is. Let's go all the way up. We didn't even go all the way up. That's crazy. Wow, that's pretty cool, man, for a one switch, one knob fuzz. Not bad. Not bad. If you want your one trick pony and you don't like to mess around, then get you one of these tuna, what is it called? The Tuna Fuzz from B-Tronics. That would be B-Tronics right there. I'll show you. Tuna Fuzz, B-Tronics. I think they're probably all over the interwebs. So we'll cut that one off. Let's see what we got now. We got one more pedal. And as I opened up the Tuna Fuzz, hiding behind it was the king of all monsters. Does anyone know who the king of all monsters is? Can you tell me? Can anyone tell me quickly in the chat who the king of all monsters is? Nobody? All right, I'm waiting. Somebody's got to tell me. Who's the king of all monsters? It's not hard. I'm just waiting. All right, so I made it through the whole Jeopardy song, and nobody could tell me who the king of all monsters was. Well, there he is right there. It's on the outside of my pedal box. And his name is Gojira. So, Fender announced this past week the Godzilla distortion pedal. And of course, I had to have one. And just like I told everybody last time, if I can buy one, why not buy two? Well, you might not have the money to buy two, but these aren't too terribly expensive. And they got Godzilla on them. So that's a good excuse to actually buy two of them. And the reason that I buy two of these things when I do is because they do go up in value. So that's my excuse. Jeez, I do need a sound effect for having to bend down. My back killing me. Okay, let's fire it up. So this is the Fender Godzilla distortion pedal. Oh, the light comes on his mouth. It does. The light right in the middle of his mouth comes on. I dig it. So let's see what this says. It says Fender Godzilla distortion. That's all it says. It's got a level and a gain and a treble and a bass. And we are going to play the brand new Godzilla distortion pedal from Fender. So there we are right there. Let's get these cables here where they're not pulling everything off the table. Okay. Okay, so let me see where everything is. All right. So when his mouth lights up, all right, go ahead, Godzilla. That's got a fuzzy kind of thing to it itself. Wow. Wow, that's like choking the amp out. All right, Fender. Oh, that's crazy. Have we got too much bass in it? All right, that's pretty cool. That's actually a great sounding distortion pedal when I bring the output level down and it's not mashing the front end of the tube amp so much. Because I think that's what's actually causing it to choke, is because when I hit the front of the amp, which means it has a lot of output, which is cool. Like when I do that and I turn up the level, I hit that chord and it goes like, that's very cool sounding and usable to me. But if I take the distortion, the gain, and I turn it all the way up and I turn the output down some, yeah, my amp right before it blows up, you're right. But that's really cool that I can actually use that and then use the EQ to back off on the bass some and turn up the treble, and then so you can super adjust this pedal to hit the front end of the amp. Yeah, man. All right. And I would play that famous riff through this Godzilla pedal, but then my video would get dinged and it would say, your video is not viewable in Romania and Indonesia. And I'd be like, dang, I really want all the Romanians and Indonesians to know that Godzilla's coming. And then I played the song and they wouldn't play my video. And then they all, perished in a, what do they call it? They called it G-Day. They called it G-Day. It was, I'm watching Monarch on Apple TV, which is an amazing series. So, the Fender Godzilla distortion pedal is all that and a can of Gojira. It's all that and a can of tuna. Yeah, so I grabbed a couple of those. I really like that pedal. I'm in love with all three of these pedals. tonight. So, okay, somebody just asked what guitar and amp am I running. This is my Zion 90 Telecaster. It has Joe Barden pickups in it, the Danny Gatton set. This is from 1995, so these are OG Joe Bardens. Very clean and loud pickups. They don't have a lot of distortion built into them. They're just very clean and very loud, and they're killer. And my amp is a Sobtech MiG 50, probably 92-ish, but it's a MiG 50, not a MiG 50H or anything like that. It's the one that's got 2 inputs and a volume knob for each input, and this is on input 1 with all the dials at about noon. Gojira, you're right. Yeah, so this Godzilla pedal is really hitting the tubes pretty hard on the amp. I'm not watching my inputs into Pro Tools. I could be clipping something in there, but I really don't think I am. I think it's just hitting the amp that way. That's so cool, man. All right, y'all. All right, we just lost the front camera, so I'm going to sign off from the side camera. Everybody, thank you. And we're out. And I will see you next week, next Tuesday. Don't forget to go to guitargate.com. Don't forget to check out Megatone amplifiers for the Fuzz pedal. And do not forget to check out Beatronics and the Tuna Fuzz, which has been getting a lot of press lately. And as always, the Mighty Fender with the Mighty Godzilla pedal. I will see you guys next week. And we are out. I think. Yeah, we are.